Do you want to get to a point where you are getting paid for doing less work? Hey there, so today I'm going to teach you how to be just more effective at work, your workplace, whether you are a VA or virtual assistant or you're working in an office. These are just simple things that you can keep in mind if you want to be more effective in the workplace. Now, the first one is going to be just ask your boss. This is something that a lot of people struggle with actually, where they're too shy to ask a question. They're too shy to, when they hit a wall, they're too shy to go to their boss and ask a question. And my advice is just to ask your boss if there's anything that's not clear, if you've come into an obstacle that you didn't know was going to be there, if you've come to a point where you just don't know what to do next. Ask your boss questions, as many questions as you can, and many questions that they would allow you to ask, because then you have more clarity. You have more clarity in what to do next or what else to do in the company. This is just a really simple way to know what else you can bring into the table, what your value is, and what else that your boss might be thinking that you could be able to do. So for example, a lot of people who come to me and just ask me questions, I see of them as someone who takes initiative because they ask me questions instead of spinning around for too long trying to figure out the answer to the problem. One example, another is I know someone who just hired someone, and they were working in an office, and then they were just watching a little bit their employees struggle. Like, they could hear the employee clicking on the mouse for the last 30 minutes and not really doing anything. It was finally when the person themselves, the boss themselves, went and asked the employee what was wrong, that it found out that the employee actually had no idea what they were doing and actually needed a little bit more guidance. So you want to avoid that. You want to be the person who just asks when you're stuck, who asks when you actually have no idea what you're doing, or if you just need more information. That's just a really quick way to be more effective at work. Number two is to be persistent and consistent. Now, that's basically if you are working towards an effort of something, those two things are kind of your best friends, are kind of your best mates, or the best bet to get to where you want to go. So for example, you were given this new project, you have to be consistent enough to always be making little steps, even just small little steps to get there, and persistent enough to continue those small little steps, because then that's the only way that you can actually reach your goal. It's not by running 100 miles and then resting and then not anymore being able to get there or get to your goal. It's by taking small steps of being consistent and persistent, of always getting there. Even when you hit the wall, even when you hit you can't move forward anymore, you have to be persistent enough to keep going until that wall budges and is removed. So that's just the second one, is be persistent and consistent. Now, the third one is to be proactive. Find little ways that you can fix things up in the company. If there's a system that needs to be written out, if it's not a written out system, if there's a system that needs to be, renewed or just updated, basically find little ways that would make your company or the team that you're working on just more efficient, because then that makes you look more efficient. And finding little ways of showing your boss or your manager or whoever is managing you that you are not just another cog in the machine. You're someone who's always looking for ways to help out, to do more than ask, because then when you do more than you ask, sooner or later you're going to be paid more than what you do. So keep that in mind of when you want to be a more productive person, when you want to be effective, is just be proactive. Find little things. One really, really good example that I have, and it's stuck in my head, is when my assistant just gives me water without me asking. Even because she's seeing me talking to a person for too long, or I'm having this meeting, and she just brings me water without asking, because she knows that I will need that eventually, even though I'm not thinking about it yet. That's a very good example of being proactive, because you are already looking at someone else's needs at the company's needs before they even need it. You're looking at it in different ways, and that is actually a very good leadership and management trait. So if you exercise that as a muscle, being proactive, that will accelerate your growth so much, and that will give your boss, give you attention from your boss. So those are kind of like the three ways, of just being more effective or productive in the workplace. Again, the first one is to ask your boss. Ask them any question, any curiosities, more information, and of course with that it actually develops a relationship with your boss. And then the second one is be persistent and consistent. At any hurdles or any roadblocks or anything, just make small steps to keep moving that, inching it all the way forward. You don't have to push and then stop and never go again. You can do small pushes until you actually get to the goal. And then the last one is to become more proactive. It's just finding for needs before people even need them. So it's always looking at different angles of like what else can be done better, what else can be done or added, or what else could be just finding that thing, that one thing that could make everything else easier. Again, I am Lacaba, your virtual ate. Ate in Tagalog means older sister, so I'm here to hopefully guide you in the world of either becoming an online employee or running your own online business. And if you have any questions at all, you can email me at leanne@2xu.com, and you can ask me anything. You can suggest other future videos, and I will make sure to give you a shout out when you do. And I'll see you guys in the next video.